Hi, I'm Kyle.
I'm Josh.
This is Two Guys, One Car.
Welcome to our car.
Dude, it starts with Two Guys, One Car. That's the name. It should start
It's
with
welcome to our car.
No, but it has to start with Two Guys, One Car because that's the name of the thing.
Just get in the back seat.
Ride along with us.
Welcome back to Two Guys, One Car, a podcast designed with the purpose to encourage everyone to live rather than exist. This week we have Yassu Horstx on the pod. Yas was born in Sri Lanka and adopted by her Dutch parents who raised her in the Netherlands until the age of 22, when she flew to Australia not knowing anyone or anything about the country. Over the 7 years, she has experienced a lot of ups and downs. Yas has grown her TikTok to over 265,000 followers, promoting a positive, happy and healthy lifestyle. Yas has recently come to understand the importance of self-love, and she's making decisions to create a lifestyle that brings her happiness. The guys chat with her about the positives and negatives of social media. They discuss strategies they use to minimize the control social media has over their lives, what building a personal brand looks like, and how important it is to stay authentic to make it a sustainable career. I truly hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Yas is an individual who has experienced a great deal of hardship in her life, but no matter how many times she gets knocked down, she always gets back up. She is set on developing a beautiful relationship with herself. If you do enjoy this episode, please reach out to us or even send Yas a message letting her know what you took away from the conversation. Join us for this week's challenge. Lots of love, and we will catch you next week. On that, like your social media, like when did that grow for you?
During lockdown, yeah. I always had social media, but I also had I think I started this one before lockdown, like a dancing one. And, and I can't dance, but I just, I got a lot of response to it. It's mainly from men. And it was because I was always looking pretty, putting makeup on, whatever, and did dances. But I was just doing it because I was getting likes, and I was like, oh, this is cool, I'm getting likes, whatever. And I was like, but why am I doing this for? It's not giving me anything, it's giving me validation, that's it. I'm not doing anything that I like. So I was like, I want something else. I don't want to, because I also was like, I always wanted to be in social media. I wanted to work with cool brands. And I was like, if I do this, I want to do something that I have an audience with, that I relate to, perverted men, no offense to but somebody that's perving on my, am I gonna give them? What are they gonna give me? Nothing. It's nothing substantial to it. So it's I was always struggling with my mental health. I just want to do something that will make me feel better, that I can bring to the world, that will also make them feel better, and just share my story. So that's what I did. I was like, I'm gonna start just a mental health kind of inspired one. So that was Yas Happy Life. I don't even know how I came to the word. I was just always, everybody called me Yas. And that's only been a thing in Australia, that I've been called Yas. So it's really linked to what I like to be called. And I was like, I just want to be the happiest version of what I could be. So happy in life. And started it, I just made some random videos, mainly through going sunrises and stuff. And then lockdown happened and I was indoors a lot, and I just had more time to film because I wasn't working. And the only thing you could do was go for a walk outside, and I obviously went to go see the sunrise a lot. So I started filming that. Sometimes made a date for myself, so I made a breakfast on the beach, brought a croissant or whatever. And then I started to see the sounds on TikTok, and there was these beautiful quotes. I used to always post quotes on my Instagram as well, always from other people, but it was still beautiful. I was just inspired by them, so I would share them. And then with the sounds, I realized if I put them on my videos, it was way more engaging, and it would actually bring a message. Because my English is good, but I sometimes still struggle to tell my story because I overthink a lot, and it's not my main language, so I find it hard to put things into words. So the quotes would help me to bring a message across that I was inspired by. And then I would do the visual part, which I think I was a bit better at. And then that just started to hit off. And I think a lot of people were on their phones, and a lot of people were looking for some extra positivity in their life, because it was a very dark time and a time that nobody really been through. And then it just started to take off. And then I think after 6 months or something like that. I hit 100K, and then my best friend made me a cake. It was so cute, and I was so happy. I was like, I could have never, like, this is always my dream, like social media, something to do with social media. And it was something that came so naturally, and I didn't even feel like I had a bigger following. All I did was like making videos that I liked, and it was just fun. And then it just kept growing, and then now we have 260K people that still like the videos.
How's it been starting off and seeing the dark side of social media? As you said, like the audience was mostly men, and it wasn't a healthy kind of relationship, like what you were putting out, what they were getting, like it wasn't what you were wanting to do.
I don't think that's unhealthy though. I think for some people that works, and they just wanna, like, there's a lot of pretty girls out there and they do dances and they get likes and views, and if that's what you want, just likes and views, then you can pursue that, and for some people that works. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted to do something that would relate to me, that that would just more suit it. Felt like that wasn't bringing anything to what I could bring to the table, and so it wasn't. I heard there's so many different For You pages for everybody. Obviously, I get to see only a snippet of what's out there because I am interested in wellness and motivation, inspiration, things that inspire me, whereas other people might get to see half-naked videos. Or I got an interview by the Daily Telegraph about teenagers on social media and how they get to see body counts and when they're 14 years old, and I'm like, I never knew that was on there. So it's all what you open yourself up to as well. To me, it's not a dangerous place, but I can assume for kids it can be, because they like certain videos that are that their teens like, or just popularity, or like body counts or fights even, and that could be dangerous. But because I don't expose myself to that kind of things, and I don't like that things, I just get guided towards the things that inspire me, which works out for me in the end.
Yeah, that's great to hear, like especially with some people just having really bad experiences with social media. And it kind of sucks that like we always have this like negative sort of opinion on it, based off like, oh, look at what it's doing bad to us, and like we can't control it and whatnot. But there's so much good in its potential, at least, and it's cool to see you actually like pursuing that potential and making that a reality. Because like you said, you could have gone down a different route, but for you to actually switch that up and be a bit more meaningful,
I think that's always been my thing. I always seen the positive of it. Obviously there's like, I still compare myself too much to other people. I find it hard to be in the present because I am capturing moments all the time, and it is taking a lot of the time scrolling sometimes as well, because I'm like, oh, but I use it for inspiration to see what other people are doing. But sometimes that defeats purpose, because I shouldn't look at what other people are doing. I should bring out what I want to be doing.
Start creating.
And I think the most successful people, they don't look to what other people are doing, and they become so successful because of their own personality, not because they're trying to be like somebody else. That's what a friend told me the other day, and I was like, it makes sense. Because when I first started out, it was just my sunrises and stuff that I think differentiated me from other people that were doing morning routines or something. And now I start to look at other people like, I like their routines and I want to do that more, but it doesn't come as naturally to me, and it's more forced. And then I don't like to record the videos that much. So I think I should stay true to myself and not look to other people what they're doing. Because I feel like what makes you special on platforms like this is your authenticity and doing what you like, and don't try to be like everybody else, because people can see through that and they're gonna feel that. And if you want to be successful, just be yourself. Also, another thing what I liked, I seen on yesterday on somebody's story, that there was a guy, I don't know if you've seen this, he wrote a thriller, and he spent 14 years writing it, and the sales weren't doing great at all. And then his daughter made a TikTok video that went viral, and now it's the highest selling book on Amazon or something.
What the hell?
The sales went like crazy. His life changed forever.
That's amazing.
I know, through social media, like things like that. It's like, or even I follow podcasts where they interview like homeless people like you do, and it hits a certain amount of views, and they started GoFundMe. Like, people are like, where can I donate to help this person out, because he has such a beautiful story. So it does bring a lot of positivity, but you have to expose yourself to the good things.
Yeah, to the right stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely. And a lot of that, the book thing's interesting as well, because like that might not necessarily be an amazing story.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure a lot of people bought that book just because of a viral video, and their friends were talking about it, like, oh, this book's meant to be insane, so they buy it. It's like, maybe the story wasn't that great, but it just shows how social media can really manipulate the reality and the outcome.
I was thinking that as well. I don't know if it's a great book, but even that guy got the opportunity to do that, it's pretty epic.
Yeah, it's cool, especially spending 14 years writing that.
And it was more so like I think the feeling that people got with it, like they were like, I feel bad for this man, so I want to help him out, and that's just beautiful to me. Like, no offense, like, I hope his book was really good, but like, even if they wanted to help him out just because they were like, wow, you worked on this, so like, I'm gonna buy your book. Just
that's
for
the thing, people get attached to the story and the person more so, like, sometimes than the product. And that's the thing with the social media side. It's like, it might not be the product that they love of like your actual video, the shots, the angles. It might just be the personality of you and how you portray that through your videos that people are more drawn to. It's like, oh, like, sure, those sunrises are sick, those beaches are cool, but like, this girl, she's living like what seems to be a really positive, happy life, and that's what I'm chasing.
Yeah, I think like going through that, like, I didn't have social media for ages. Like, when I was like younger, from like probably like 17 up to maybe like last year. Obviously doing the stuff we do now, like, of course I need it. And like, I initially battled with that, just being like, I was like, who do I even follow? Like, what the hell? Like, what do I actually do? And I started to realize, like, I'm just following people for the sake of like, I know them, but it's like, what does it mean to actually like follow someone? I feel like we should all be a little bit more intentional with that. In terms, well, at least for me, I started to be a bit more intentional of being like, if I follow someone, it's because I want to consume their content. And I want to consume only a minimal amount. I want to be someone who creates more. Not just content, but just stuff in general. Like, I just don't want to be consuming as much, but being super intentional with who you actually consume. I feel like that's a new thing, because there's so much out there now that it's like, you have to be picky. You have to attach yourself to certain people. And that's what's cool, is like, I think that also feeds like people like yourself being able to just be you. Because if someone likes you, they'll follow you because they just like you. It's not like you're the only one in your field doing whatever it is. So it's like, people can actually be like, oh, I really like her stuff particularly, so I'm going to follow her. Which, that being more of a thing now, because it's just so big, like social media. That's just beautiful as well. Yeah,
because there's this girl, and I follow her. She's like she has the same skin color as me, and I find that sometimes there wasn't a lot of people with my skin color in the social media world. Maybe you won't realize it, but there wasn't the people I usually would see. Maybe a bit more in America, and not that much in Australia, I think. And then, well, this girl, and I got linked to her because she would do makeup, and I wanted to find somebody that would have the same skin color as me, and I could like learn from her. But what drew me to her is her personality. She's so positive. Her name's Monet Mitchell. And everybody loves her personality. She puts so much work into her editing. She's so positive, like bright light. And people come back to her. But she works with so many brands. But like a lot of people, videos with brands don't do as well, because people are like, oh, you're just selling a product. Like, it's just an ad, so why would I watch it? With her, the response is amazing. Her videos do just as well as for ads, nearly, as like her other videos. And I think it's because her personality, it's so authentic. Even if it would be shit from, she makes it a fun way. Like, you should try this, and you just get like, oh, I might just buy this just because she bought it, and not even. You don't overthink it. It's just their personality. It's like, it's so important to just say true to yourself, and then working with brands and stuff, it's about authenticity.
And that's what people want. Like, when you actually look at friendships and stuff, the people you want to like give your time to are the people you enjoy. Like the glamorous lifestyle on Instagram is like the mansions, the Ferraris, the private chefs. And if you go to like hang with one of those people and just say that guy's a dick, like, you're not going to want to be there for long, because you don't like the personality and who that person is. but on the screen it looks like the best life ever, versus the guy like kicking a soccer ball in a park or whatever. You're like, oh, that looks like a boring life, but you go and hang with that person and they're such a great person. Yeah. It's like the thing they're doing isn't as grand and as large, but it's the person, the personality, the authenticity. That's what you're chasing. Yeah. So that's what we seek in real life, and people kind of struggle to understand that that's like the transition that they need to have going into social media.
Yeah. It's gonna be weird seeing the two worlds blend over the next like 10 years, like to see social media and actual like real world reality start to reflect each other.
Do you guys follow like celebrities and stuff?
The only like celebrities I'd probably follow is like more so sportswomen.
That still like would inspire you.
Yeah. It's more like around like certain specific sports. That's just like, I want to see what they're doing because they're achieving greatness, I guess. So that's probably the only celebrity I would follow.
Yeah. It's so interesting though, because like a lot of the consumption is, yes, I'm following people that like inspire me, people that I really like what they do, whether it's photographers and I'm like in awe of their work, or like adventurers and savages like David Goggins. But I have to like ask myself, how many times have I watched something of theirs and that's actually, I've taken something and I've gone and done something? Because it's one thing to feel inspired, but to action it is a whole nother thing. And if I'm just consuming this and feeling motivated, feeling inspired, but doing nothing with it, is that really healthy for me to be consuming? I would argue not, because then it turns into more of a comparison thing where I feel inspired and I don't do anything with it. And then I'm like, I did nothing and look at him, he got it done, but I didn't do it. So I think to your point, it's thinking about what am I consuming, but how much am I consuming? Like how often am I looking at people, photographers' work and like, oh, that's a sick shot, I wish I could do that. It's like, I'm someone that says, oh, I like photography. Is it I like photography, or is it I like consuming other people's photography?
That's so interesting. I never thought of it like that, as in like, I get inspired, but am I doing anything with it? Because I have that a lot. Like I watch up people on TikTok and I watch it and I'm like, get inspired. I was like, oh, I should do that. But then I don't want to do that. Like,
yeah, that's why I try and avoid it. Like, it's just like, I just don't really consume that much content in terms of that. Maybe it might be like longer format YouTube stuff, but mostly that's to do with sport, I guess.
Because I used to follow people, like, it would just be in my list because like Kim Kardashian and stuff like that, but I don't follow them all now because what is their life gonna do to me? Like, it's just because they're in the, like, not even in the spotlight, but like, it's like lives like that, or like artists, like, okay, I'll listen to their music, but what am I gonna gain from following them on social media? Probably
what's the actual tangible thing? Yeah, there's nothing that actually tangibly comes from it.
Yeah, like listening to Harry Styles' music, I love it. It makes me feel good. It's beautiful art. Following him on Instagram does nothing for me.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I've realized that this year as well. With friendships, I still find it a bit hard though, because there's a lot of people on there that just post their beers when they go to the pub in the weekend. I'm like, it doesn't do anything for me. I'm just keeping up with your life basically, but it's taken away from my time. And I try not to scroll. Most of my like acquaintances, as I would say, just don't look at their stories. But I'm like, should I even follow these people? I don't want to be that person that doesn't follow the people that friends or more acquaintances. I can count the friends I have on one hand, but I don't want to be rude. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, should I? It's like,
I don't think it's being rude. I think be that person, because at the end of the day, like you're the one consuming. It's your life. It's your time you're devoting to looking at them have beers, and also, like, if they care, then that speaks to like their insecurities and like almost, I don't know, dude, why are you so shallow? Why do you care if I follow you on Instagram or not? I'm a human being. If I see you, I'll say hi to you and see what's going on in your life, but I don't need to consume what you're doing on a Friday night at the pub. Like that does nothing for me.
Oh yeah, that's my insecurity, to care too much about like what people think.
Wouldn't it be cool to live in a world where like people only go to social media or go to any sort of content just to find something that they're seeking out? Like as in to help them pursue that, not actually, actually like socials were just a tool. So for example, like people were like, oh, I want to be more into my mornings, like actually, like it'd be cool if we all thought like
as
that.
Like Google,
like used it as a search engine. I feel like that's actually becoming a thing though, with TikTok being like so big in terms of what even I find myself now going on TikTok and looking up stuff.
Same.
Like,
No way.
Like
recipes,
sure.
people like do recipes or...
Dude,
yeah.
The other night I was like, okay, me and Siege, like we'll go to somewhere like antipasto, like I want that sort of vibe. I'm not even going to hit up Google, I'm going to hit up TikTok. Bro, and it's better than better than Google.
See the video
because it's not words, it's audio, it's visual. Like, dude, it's better than Google.
It's a search
Wait,
engine.
as in like you wanted to make it, so you looked it up on TikTok.
Say again?
You're saying you wanted to make antipasto?
No. I wanted to find a place.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so it's like instead of looking up
Like
like
location
restaurants
as
near
well.
me. Yeah.
No
Have
way.
you never done that now?
Never.
You don't...
I
No, but
Are you on TikTok?
Yeah, but I don't use it, like only to post our stuff.
Yeah. Like me too, I don't consume anything on TikTok.
Because I never got it when it was like first coming up. I only got it when we started our account.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful in that sense, because I see so many people just like consumed by TikTok. Like any spare second, pull out their phone, just...
Really, yeah.
Yeah, but it's pretty crazy, hey, because that was the first time for me. Like, I don't use it or anything like that, but I know how powerful it is in terms of like how many people use it. I was just thinking about like so many people use TikTok. I'm sure there's like someone out there who's found a certain place that I don't know about and Google doesn't know about.
I do that. The other day
And it
I was
worked.
in the shop and I was wanting to buy a hair gel for like a slick back look, and I was like, I couldn't pick through all the gels on TikTok. I was like, what's the best hair gel?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
It's so cool.
But yeah,
it's powerful. I love that side of it. Like I think that's awesome because it helps us all have access to all that information.
Yeah.
It can obviously have a downturn. It's like we desire the information now. Give it to me. It's like, again, my thought process was don't go to Google because it's like that's just text. I need more. I need visual. I need audio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was kind of like but it
makes
it's both ways.
in a way, you're saving time by like Googling it.
Because,
maybe it's
because I don't
right
want to
there.
I don't want to spend 30 minutes looking up the joint. I just want to find the place, book it, and like I'm caring about the experience more than the search for it. So it's like,
do you think there's an expectation though that gets created, especially when you see a visual like this is what the antipasto is, and almost it can to an extent pull away from the adventure? I think being spontaneous and it's like, oh, where do you want to go tonight? I don't know, let's just drive and find a place. Like, sure, those nights can end in a freaking terrible meal and a crappy experience, but they can also end in like the best moments of your life.
Yes, but I think there's also different times for that.
Yeah.
Like I have that, but then I also have what I had. Like it was like we don't go out to dinner often because we're both just busy. And I was like, no, like she enjoys that. Let's go out to dinner somewhere like that. So, and I never looked them up. So I was like, so yes, but also I guess if you fall into it and that's like the way you justify everything is by looking at the visual, being like, this is exactly what I want. I want this lighting. I want that. And then you go to TikTok, you've already lived the experience before you go and actually experience it in the flesh. That's the whole idea of like blending the two worlds. Like, I hope that doesn't become a thing where we just like, we seek that out and like VR becomes more of a thing and we experience
I
it.
think so. When you're on a holiday or something, like usually like you don't know the place, so you just walk around and just like, oh, that looks nice. We'll go there. I think that will always exist, hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's kind of scary because even on that, like I would say you're probably an outlier where you have the ability to not just like not look it up on TikTok all the time and actually go out and like be spontaneous. I think too many people would probably always just result to like, oh, I want a pizza. Oh, let me just like find the best place. Let me just find the best place. And it's always seeking the best. It's like, why do you need the best? What if the worst is going to be the best experience?
True. Yeah, because you're looking for like the actual food, but you don't know the experience unless you actually go somewhere.
Exactly. And quite often it's, in my opinion, how you feel is going to influence how the food tastes. Like if I am going to the worst restaurant, but I go there with my mates, we're laughing, we bump into someone, we help someone along the way, so we're feeling better about ourselves, and then we go there. Like, I'm probably just in a great mood and I'm going to enjoy the food, whereas, you know, if I'm going to the really busy, expensive place that's meant to be the best, like, I can't find a park, and then I'm annoyed, and then I have to walk and pay for a parking ticket, food's super expensive, and the wait line's long, then it's like, oh, bro, this food, it's 9 o'clock, I just want to get this pizza and go to bed. It becomes
more about the effort you put into finding the place than it actually is enjoying the food. Yeah. It's a great point.
So I think there's just so much in, like we were talking about it before, but just kind of stripping everything down to just the bare minimum and just living, having the experience. I think that's where so much joy can be found.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
So
How do you feel like what do you feel like your consumption looks like of social media? Like what platforms do you use? Like as someone who creates, how do you consume social media?
I don't really use TikTok. I use TikTok. I don't use Facebook really anymore. I don't post on that, which is bad because it's not bad, but it still can be used to like
used as a tool.
Yeah. Don't use it really. I have it, but I'm not on it. I feel like there's only so much time you can spend on social platforms, so I pick. So mine is Instagram and TikTok. I had Snapchat for a while, like back in the day. I just deleted it. It was too much. I like these things. I'm very visual, so and I like to create, and I feel like you can do that best on those platforms. On Facebook, I don't think you can post longer videos or things with sounds or whatever that won't allow you to do that. Instagram and TikTok both do that. I consume probably more than I should, because I do scroll, and I think it takes away of what I should be doing. But I still catch myself doing it.
How do you navigate what you should be doing and what you want to be doing?
I'm trying to figure that out, because in the first year I was growing my TikTok, I would consume a lot, but I would also make a lot because I had so much time on my hands. So it was my full-time thing because there was lockdown, there was nothing else to do, so it was fine. Now I have a full-time job, so I can't do that anymore. So it's about finding that balance of not mindlessly scrolling, which I still see it sometimes as inspiration, or like finding sounds that would work for my videos. But I think I tried to. I don't even know. I would say I haven't mastered it yet, or I haven't navigated it.
But
how to do it.
It moves so quickly. Like think of just TikTok, its rise. And it's like things like sounds. Like that is such a big thing. Or things like when you can react to someone's video. What's it called? A duet? Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah.
When you if there's a video and you do it. Yeah. That's like just think of it like this. We're so used to monologue, so it's like one person. Now you can have dialogue, where it's like you and the other person, like you reacting to that person. That's crazy. Yeah. Like that, we just think of that as like, oh, whatever, that's a thing. Yeah. But like the fact that you can react to something else and they can react is just like, then it just creates more layers. Like
so true.
The things that we consume, like they're just evolving so quick that we can't understand. So then we just start consuming the new thing, and we just don't know how to control it.
Do you think it diminishes people's in-person experiences, like the reaction thing? Because if you put a camera in front of someone and you're like, react to this video, everyone's thought is to be amplified in some way, and almost an unnatural way, where it's like, oh, that's insane. But if it was in person, you'd probably be like, wow, that's crazy.
It's also like, say something for like movies, where it's like, you get reviews, or like someone reacts to a movie trailer or a movie or something like that before you've even seen it. You already are thinking, you're already like supposed to think this way before you even go into it. Yeah. Which is like, I feel like we just have never had that before. Yeah. Like just setting expectations is so much more set now before you even go and experience something.
Which is dangerous, because it just, like, having expectations leads to like a result in expectations not being met, and like not depression, but just like sadness of like, damn, this isn't as good as I thought it'd be. And that spirals onto like many mental health issues. And I think that's where social media can be a dangerous platform, especially when you consume every day. Yeah. And there's people that consume like 4, 5, 6 hours a day. Like imagine that 6 hours of your day just consuming content. And what's nuts is people, it's not memorable. The negative side of social media, how like the consumption, and it's not memorable. People, you'll watch like one of the most insane things, like say a world-class athlete does some crazy stunt, but that's just one of 200 videos you watched, and like you don't remember that. It's like, that was such a important moment in history, that's an amazing feat, but like you just scrolled past it, not even thinking twice. Yeah. It's like there's almost a numbness that comes with consumption, I find. Yeah. Like this is what would be interesting, if you could record whilst someone's scrolling and just watch their facial reactions, and like have a corresponding screen that shows the video they're watching, I honestly think people's faces would just be like numb and showing nothing. Because as I think about it, I'm not like vividly like, oh, when I see a cool photo or see a sick video, it's just like.
Yeah, it's somebody said, I was doing an interview and it was like, it's not natural for us human beings to go through so many emotions we can't comprehend. So like you get very tired because the scrolling, like as you said, you go from a funny video to an inspirational video, and your brain is not wired to go through so many different emotions in that short period of time. It's very unnatural. So that's why scrolling is not good. It's like your brain can't
understand.
We're not wired to deal with that much.
It's like those videos where, well, people talk about like if you see like someone jumping off like if you see like a death video or something like that, or like and then you just go past it like, and you just go, wow, like that's intense. Next, like that's crazy. You've never had to deal with that before.
And I've seen one video where I actually saw someone die. It was this base jumping video. And these two guys jumped and one dude's parachute just didn't open and his body like just hit the rocks.
Holy shit.
And I that like hit me so hard, and I watched it like 10-15 times, and I was like, that guy just died. Like it was so heavy. And I remember sitting in it and I'm like, that's so weird. I reckon if I watched it enough times or saw that regularly enough, I wouldn't even think twice about it. I was like, that was one of those moments where it's like, man, I really need to think about what I'm consuming.
It's frightening, and like with algorithms and like say like TikTok for you, it's like shit. We surrender a big amount of control to what we consume to that. Like we don't know. Like of course, like there's patterns and whatnot, and like to your point, it's like about like the stuff that you consume. You don't see certain things, and it's like you do have an element of control, but it's not 100% control, which is quite scary. But I think like, and to your point, like. Being able to actually like consume the right stuff. Do you feel like you're intentional with that? Like, did you go like, oh, I'm going to follow these certain people, or?
Yeah, I think I am really intentional with that.
Yeah.
The other stuff doesn't appeal to me. So I'm quite happy with the things that I get shown. That's what makes it addictive, obviously.
Yeah.
It's like so build for that because they know it's what you want, so we'll give it to you. We'll give it to you loads. So you keep wanting to watch it.
Yeah. Do you have any practices or behaviors that you kind of put in place, or rules to?
I usually have timestamps of like my day anyways. Try to, at least. I'm not always the best with it.
As in when you allow yourself to consume it?
Yeah, and then I'm like, or I see how long I've been on it, and I'm like, okay, at this time you're going to get up and you're going to do something. This time you're going to...
And are those effective ways?
Usually they are. Because like, I just feel unproductive and like, nothing gets done. It's only recent. I go through phases where I've been on it more. I think it has to do if I'm tired. If I'm tired, I just mindlessly scroll more. If I'm sad or in a bad mindset, I'll scroll more as well. Avoidance again, like I'm looking for something else instead of dealing with it. So I'm really trying to navigate those as well. And know it's not going to make me feel better, or maybe go for a nap instead, because I know, okay, I'm mindlessly scrolling now because I need to go to sleep. I can't think straight. If I could think straight, I would be doing something right now. So, I see it.
Like living by yourself, do you find the accountability is harder, or do you think it's you have a good setup being by yourself and holding yourself accountable? It works both ways. Sometimes I'm like, oh, because you're by yourself a lot, you can go on your phone more because you don't have people to talk to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, because there's not that constant chatter of other people or like people around you, I set myself, I can do a lot in my own space. So I can be alone with my own thoughts, so I can journal, or I can meditate. So I have that space to do things for myself as well. Whereas if I would live with other people, the easiest thing is to be on your phone because you can still deal with the other people. But I can't meditate because I'll get distracted maybe. So I think it works both ways.
Yeah. And do you anticipate what that looks like living with someone or other people in the future? As in, like, that's an easier way for you to have creative control. But once other people come into the picture, then you need to be considerate of like their needs and their desires. Like,
oh yeah, I had that with my ex. When I lived with my ex, I find it really hard because I need a lot of alone time, a lot, and then also having to work on social media, you need to put time and effort in it, and it takes time to edit, to make clips, and I need to be focused. So I think that's just prioritizing what you want to do and actually make space for it or time. If you have a place in your house where you can sit by yourself, not be distracted, I would definitely take that, because it's so important to do the things that you want to do even when you're around other people, and still pour into your own cup, like the meditation. Or also pouring into my own cup is working on a passion I want to be doing, and I'm not going to give that up for anybody, because that will not make me happy, and I will not show up for anybody else happy.
Yeah. Have you always been like that, do you think?
No. Like, I was so, well, as I said to you guys before, when I first came to Australia, I was more in the present, though, I would say. I was just living day by day.
picking oranges.
Yeah, like I didn't know what was gonna come. So, and I was younger. I feel like that should be a part of your life some stage as well. I think sometimes you should live day by day, and like especially beginning of these runs. I know you guys are very like, I think far ahead with your self development and what you guys want to do. But I didn't have that. I was trying to figure it out. I was coming to a new country. That was my whole experience. Like learning through being in the moment and experience different cultures, going with the flow. Like that was for me very uneasy and uncomfortable. Living in hostels, in bunk beds. I was such a little princess. I've always been looked after by my parents, a bit spoiled. Like I needed to do those things to experience and grow and figure out what I wanted to do and not wanted to do. So I was definitely going along with other people that I met, because I didn't know who I was. So I went along with them and what they wanted to do. Also was just easy and comfortable, and didn't have to make me think a lot, and just having fun as well. But now I've come a bit older, I've experienced a lot of fun and just living day by day. And there's a little bit of pressure I put on myself and also society, obviously, that you have to have something figured out, and you want to, because you want to be able to sustain a lifestyle for yourself where you can pay a house or like pay your bills or whatever. So I had to make kind of a plan, what worked best for me for lifestyle and also job wise and stuff like that. And with that comes like being true to yourself and doing what you want to do. So no, I've not always been like that. I grew into that.
So do you think you developed that through, like, I guess, seeking discomfort, really? Because you moved, for context, you moved to Australia 7 years ago?
7 years.
Yeah,
From the Netherlands.
Yeah,
from the Netherlands. With no plan. I booked so I seen a friend, she posted on Facebook, she was an au pair, all these pictures of the opera house, like parties, it looked so fun. I was like, I want to do that. I wanted a gap year again. I was studying communication at that time. I did my second year. I had to redo it. I was like, no, I'm gonna go away for 5 months. I booked a ticket for 5 months. It was actually funny because that was a struggle in itself. I wanted to go through an agency, but because I had mental health issues in the past, so I was on antidepressants for 2 years prior to that, and it wouldn't take you if you had a past like that. So I was like, what am I gonna do? So I just looked through a Facebook group like Sydney Au Pairs, and I actually found a family through there. Worked for them for 3 months, got fired.
Wow.
Got fired. Worked out in the best way ever possible. It was very scary. I was like to my parents, what am I going to do? The family said, we booked you a hostel for 3 nights. I was like, what am I going to do? Met my then now ex-boyfriend in the hostel. He was going to do his farm work. I met him like a week. We like kind of fell in love. Like we were in love. He went to do his farm work. He called me every night. He's like, you should come. Like you're looking for a job. Why don't you come to work here and you get your second year visa out of it? And I was like, okay, going with the flow. Like I needed a job. Traveled up to follow him and his 2 best mates, and stayed in a relationship with the guy for little bit of 2 years. Oh yeah, 2 years. Lived with him and his mates. Practically became Irish. It was just like it was so weird because after 3 months, I was like, even when I was still with the family, I was like, I love this lifestyle. I want to stay here. I called my parents like, I'm not coming back. The family first hand asked if I wanted to stay longer. It's really funny that they fired me after, but they wanted me to stay longer. So I called my parents like, I want to stay longer. I don't want to enroll in school again. I'm going to stay here for however long I can stay. And then I just ended up staying and just kept on finding ways to extend visas and go with the flow.
Yeah, wow.
I don't even know what the question was.
I don't know either, but I was just listening to you then. Oh, yeah, it was, how do you think you got to the point where you're a bit more of an individual and you can look after yourself rather than rely on people to look after you?
It's funny because everybody thought I was going to come back after a few months. I was so dependent of my parents. I don't know if it was adopted because I was adopted. I don't know if it was because I was the baby of the family, but they were always they were very nurturing, maybe sometimes too nurturing. Like, if I wasn't, like, my parents aren't rich, but they're well off. If there was a problem or something didn't fall through, I knew I could fall back on them. And just nobody thought I could, like, back at home I moved out, but my parents would help me pay for my rent. Nobody thought, I think, that I would survive on the other side of the world by myself. And I did. And I think that is what gave me my independence and also knowing that I could do things by myself. Then another very crucial part was when I broke up with my first boyfriend here. I had to experience Australia by myself again. I was so dependent on his lifestyle and how we made Australia like a story for us. And then I had to figure out, why am I here again? Like, I came here before him. The last 2 years have been usually what he wanted to do. I just went along with it. I thought it was fun, but what do I want? Like, why am I here? Is this country for me? I always knew it was, but yeah, that's another crucial part. So coming to Australia was a crucial one. Before that, actually, was battling depression. Coming to Australia, then breaking up with my first boyfriend, that was another. I was just like, I had to find a house again by myself. Like, usually he always helped me with stuff like that, and I was always dependent on one person in my life, either my parents or it was him then after, that I could count on, that would sort things out. Now I had to move out by myself. It's like, how am I going to do that in another country? Like, I went to an au pair family before I went to a hostel. How am I going to find a place without any references here? How am I going to do that? Yeah, stuff like that is really...
And you figured it out.
Yeah.
And how was like the period where you were struggling mentally? Like, you said you're on antidepressants, and like, did you come off those? Like,
I came off them, is it a year and a half ago now? I was on it for, is it 8 years?
Wow.
I know.
What was it like coming off them? Because that's essentially like all you know. Like that, being on them for 8 years, that's pretty much.
So you were a year and a half ago, what, 27, 28?
Yeah.
So since 20?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was on, I think I started when I was 18 or 19 on them. And then I had a period where I stopped when I was with my ex. I think I was off them for like a year. Then I went back on them because I was always crying for one period. I think I still find it hard being off them because I've been on it so long, and I think my brain doesn't, well, no, it's not my brain, but I think I don't realize how much I think, and I still have anxiety, how much it takes over, and that all got numbed a little bit. So still to this day, I'm like, I think so much, and I sometimes feel too overwhelmed, and I think it used to be numbed, and now
You feeling it all?
I'm feeling it all, and like after 8 years, maybe it got numb for so long that this is really a transition period where it's gonna take a while for me to accept that this is how the brain works, and this is real life, and you can numb it if you want, but if you want to live without it, this is how it works, and you're gonna have to deal with it, and that's what I'm still trying to figure out.
Yeah. There's something to feelings, and like for you to have such impactful, controlling sense of emotion, like obviously to go on them, it's like to then come off them and like feel feelings again,
I always used to numb it or run away from it. I had a therapist when I was in that relationship, and because I didn't know I was off it then as well, and she's like, what do you do? I was insecure, I was jealous sometimes of my boyfriend, like talking to a girl, and she was like, what do you do when you feel this jealousy come up? Like, it was on a night before I went out, and I was worried about him looking at other girls or whatever. And she's like, what do you do? And I was like, I just tell myself to get over it and have fun. I like go out with girls and just not think about it. So she's like, you're not dealing with emotion, you're pushing it away. Like, you're not letting yourself feel it. You're trying to. It's like, what if your best friend would tell you, I'm feeling this way, what would you tell her? Would you tell her, oh, just forget about it, just move, like, just have a good night? No, you would tell her, like, it's okay to feel this way, it's normal, like, feel the emotion, it's okay, it doesn't mean anything bad's gonna happen, it's just your thoughts, and that's the way it is. But not, and I would always push it away. I think that's why I have avoidance things with maybe social media. Sometimes, like, a lot of things I am still trying to navigate having to actually feel things, because I usually don't want to feel things. I find it's uncomfortable. Like, who wants to really do that?
That's where the growth is.
Yeah, it is. And only in the last year I think I feel things way more than I used to, but it comes with way more highs and lows. And I even talk to my parents. They're like, you have a lot of highs and you have a lot of lows, but I think it's because this is the first time I'm really, I've always been a bit like that, but maybe. Are
you grateful that you're off them? Like, kind of knowing the difference between living that numb life and living now with a heightened sense of, like...
I think I was always emotional and highs and lows, but I'm very grateful I came off it, because part of my journey has become more health conscious and looking after my health. And that was a part of it. I don't want to be on something. I have no idea what it is. I used to be on the pill for 10 years as well. Now there's all this research how bad it could have been for me, how that caused depression, how many side effects there were. There's this TikTok where two guys have this map of the side effects of the birth control, and they keep reading them out, and they're shocked by all the side effects. And I'm like, there's not enough proof what those antidepressants do to you long term. I looked it up. I tried to Google so many things, like how to come off antidepressants, there's not a lot of research on how to come off. People don't do it. They stay on it. They stay on it because they're like, if it's working for me, why would I come off it?
Exactly. If I'm not in that dark place and I'm in some other place, then I want to be here.
Yeah, and I Googled it so much and there was nothing, and I was like, oh, I have to just do this. I have to get through it. And
what was the process like?
You have to just slowly build it off. So you I wasn't on a lot anyway, so I had to like half it, then quarter it, and then every other day, and then after 2 weeks or like a few weeks, the last 2 weeks you were like every other day. Then
was it tough? Like, were there relapses at all? Where you would go back on it, or?
Yeah, like especially after lockdown, like there was a period in my life where I wasn't happy, and I wasn't sure if it was the job I was in, the relationship I was in, or everything, or if I was just depressed again. My skin was really bad at that time, and I was like, oh, maybe it's that. I couldn't pinpoint it. I was like, should I go back on it? Because I was just not happy. And I was like, but I've worked so hard to like get off this. I'm gonna try everything else so I feel better. If nothing works, if I've tried my best, I can go back on it. But that's the last resort. But I didn't, and I'm happy I didn't.
That's awesome. And do you think that's where a lot of your kind of daily practices come from? Like going to see the sunrise,
100%.
reading, meditating, because you desire to feel good, and for you, those are things that are probably necessary for you to feel good.
Yeah.
Like they're things you have a strong desire to do.
Yeah, I think in the time where I felt the first time I was happy without my ex was when I discovered sunrises and like waking up for myself, doing something hard, like waking up 5 a.m. in the morning is not always easy. You don't want to do it, but it was worth it. Like, I'm proud of myself. I did this. I'm proud of myself. I went into the cold ocean. Wow, I didn't want to do it. I'm so proud that I did that. I set myself little goals, and I loved myself enough to do those things. And that's how it grew, basically. That's how I think those little practices is what keeps me proud of myself. Like, I can do these things that I set myself out to do. That grows self-confidence as well. And I love myself enough to be nice in those kind of ways.
A lot of people, like, they would probably see your stuff and be like, oh, I don't have time for that. Or like, I can't fit that into my schedule. I'm too busy or whatnot. And I guess for anyone who thinks like that, viewing your stuff, what did you cut out or put aside or stop doing so that you can fulfill all these practices that you partake in now?
It's like prioritizing. I used to work in the pub, and before this as well, it was a pub when I first got into the Sunrises, and a lot of my colleagues were really close, and they used to drink a lot together, and they used to go out a lot, and I was the only one that wouldn't do that as much, because my priorities were different. Like, if I go out, I'll feel shit afterwards. I will not wake up the next day. I'm gonna go home. I'm not gonna stay out. I'm not gonna have drinks after work, or I might have two, or like maybe not. Maybe have nothing. Maybe I go out, have water or like a Coke Zero or whatever. And that was my priority, and that's how I would change it, because you have to make times for these things. I heard there was like the book, I think Like a Monk, Jay Shetty, and he said it in a few podcasts as well, and they were talking about the people that don't have time because they have this and this going on. They're the people that should meditate for like an hour instead of 5 minutes, because those are the people that need it most. That don't have time at all, you'll need it more. Like, you need to have that. It's just about time management and prioritizing, and I made it. That's why I like this lifestyle of like work in hospitalities, where I find it hard. Like, it has its plus sides and its downsides. The thing that I like about it is because I know if I have a 9 to 5, it will make it harder and more resistance for me to do that morning routine before I have to go to work. Whereas now I have the day to myself, so I give myself that time to go sunrise, to go meditate, to go to the gym, because I have the whole day to myself. That and evenings I feel less productive, so I'd rather be in work making money, just doing something easy. When it gets dark outside, I feel less motivated to do things like that. So I'd rather have the day where the sunlight hits my skin, where I feel skinny.
So it's almost like you change your environment.
You're being quite purposeful.
Like, as in, like, what job am I working? What's that going to do for me in terms of my other stuff? It's not putting that first. So back to your point, prioritization. It was like, well, I'm going to put my well-being first. What does that mean? It's like, well, I'm going to be more productive in the morning, so I can't work this job, or I have to figure it out. Someone's point, like, it's hard. It's obviously hard because you're stuck in routine, but sometimes it's easy to just point the finger at your job or something else.
Change it.
You control that. Which is hard to see.
Everything in your life, if you want to change it, you can change it. It's up to like you. And I grew into that. I didn't think, oh, I'm going to work in hospitality because I want to work on myself. No, it was through that life lesson of like, through growing into that. That's not my dream job, but it's given me, it taught me that is a lifestyle that I like. We're like having the days to myself. Doesn't mean that I have to be in hospitality for the rest of my life, but it showed me that how important those little practices are to me, and how that gives me joy. So even that, maybe I'm not in a career path that I want to be in forever, but maybe this career or like this job at the minute is teaching me that. And I think that's valuable as well.
When did you realize that you have the power to change your life and change anything in it?
When I also came to Australia, but also when I went through the depression, when I kind of moved past that, or like, I had a very, very toxic relationship when I was 16 to 19. Kind of dangerous guy, I would say, or like people around me would say, manipulative, very scary, never harmed me really. Obviously mentally he has, what did was waiting, like he had like a brick how do you say it? A stone he put through our how do you say it, window. He got arrested in front of our house, like for manipulation of like saying that if I wouldn't get back with him he would kill himself. So that's like in a way, he got arrested a few times in my work because he was like waiting for me.
Wow.
So that was caused my depression. Afterwards I said I was fine. Like a few months later my parents were like, you're not fine. I was like, I couldn't get out of bed. I was like, wow. This done more to me than I thought it like did. It's weird. I'm gonna get emotional. I don't know why. I've never thought about this. Yeah. It's just so weird. I never talk about this. And I think then after regroup myself a bit, I got depressed, dropped out of school, had a gap year, just worked, went back to school, realized that that's not what I wanted to do, and then I still wasn't properly myself. I was trying to figure it out, but I knew I wanted to do something else or change my environment. And I still had depressive periods at home, and that's when I came to Australia. And I think what changed for me is like the lifestyle that comes with Australia is that you can be outdoors, and that was really a crucial part of like my mental well-being. I could go for walks, I could go to the beach, I could go for my swims. That changed a lot, and I knew that worked for me. So yeah, it came. I don't even know what the question was anymore. What was the question?
Was you?
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know. We were just talking about like the transition period, I guess, and when you realized like you had the power to create change.
The power came with making the decision of going away.
And do you think like the decision to do that was really kind of formulated through the struggles and the hard times you went through?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think growth comes without struggle. There's only growth with struggle.
And was it you searching something better than what you had? Like, was it you running away from like, I'm in so much pain, I don't want to be here? Or was it, I've been through this pain and I know that pain like results in growth, so I want to go put myself through like some more discomfort?
It was just not as intentional. I think it was more, I always wanted to travel. I always seen some some sort of security of knowing that I could be an au pair, so I would be fine with a family. So that was kind of comfort in a way. Like I'll be fine even when I go to another country, I'll be with a family there. It's fine. But I just knew I was stuck in an environment that I didn't want to be in. I wasn't growing. I was also surrounded by people that sometimes were judging me. They wouldn't get me. They would just say, "Oh, you're just a bit lazy," or like I couldn't get out of bed, or like you're just a bit lazy, or like I knew I wasn't lazy. Because sometimes I couldn't get out of my bed all day, but I would get so in my head like you didn't do anything productive. I would go for a run at 1 at night around like the park where I lived at like 1 at night, because I would battle with my thoughts so much, like I'm not doing anything productive all day, so you have to do something now.
Just being so hard on yourself.
Yeah, being stuck in my thoughts. And I remember that also, like my appearance, like my friends would sometimes say, "Why are you wearing fake eyelashes? You look like a downsized fight," or like, "Why do you always wear this tight clothes, or like your bra like that?" Or very a lot of judgment. And I wanted to be myself, and I wanted to not be around that. I feel like I wasn't in a good environment, judged and a bit by people that probably were insecure themselves. And
definitely insecure.
Yeah. And I'm so happy, like to this day, like that's Australia has been the best decision ever.
Like with kind of the separation of the friends and feeling as though like having that experience with them judging you and not necessarily feeling like you belonged there, were you more prone to just latch yourself to like any community, or do you think you were like very selective with, I want to find the right community and the right people for me.
Finding the right community, because even when I was here, I used to post like bikini selfies on Instagram, and then my best friend actually back home, she's like, you know, people are talking about you back at home when you put pictures up like that. And I was like, why do you feel the need? I'm here living in Australia. Why would I care what people say about me back at home? You clearly you have nothing going on, because otherwise you wouldn't. It's not gonna. What you want me to do? Not do it anymore? Like, it's not gonna change anything. It's me. It's like a bikini. Relax. It's Australia.
And people always say something. No matter what you do, there's always going to be someone opposing it.
And then if you stopped, say you didn't do anything, it's like, oh, Yas isn't doing it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, so they're still going to say something even if you didn't post.
And it's funny to this day, because now, if they would hear this, they would know it's by them. But now they reach out to me like, it's so incredible to see what you're doing, or like, you look so good. Like, I post more bikini things now. You look so good. Like, what training thing do you use? And I'm like, you were so young. But I don't blame them, because they were young. Like,
do you think it comes more out of because you have a large following online that they're reaching out to you because they're like, oh, I know her? Or do you think they've genuinely changed and they're actually wanting to know what you do to kind of live the life you do?
I think a lot of people know I have a large following, and I still don't see myself as having a large following, because it's only on TikTok and not even on Instagram really. I think a lot of friends from back home would still follow me on Instagram. I don't even know if they know that. I sometimes post, but not really. I think it's more because they see I'm happier and like I post a lot of like the healthy habits, and I lost a lot of weight in like the last year, I'd say, or like since I've been since from home I would lost a lot of weight. I look healthier, happier. I think that's more.
Do you feel healthier and happier?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
That's cool. And for them, like, I'm just trying to picture like being in their shoes. I guess you're someone who's escaped that environment, come over and like transcended it. Like, for them to see that through a screen, it would probably be like, what the hell? Like, that would just be like, they'd probably just be confused.
Yeah.
Realistically, because they have this image for you of what you should be and what you should have turned out when you came here, or she's doing the wrong thing, whatnot. And to see you actually feeling healthier, happier, it'll probably just be confusing for them. Yeah. Realistically, because they don't know this. Yeah, it's like they don't.
Sometimes it's also deceiving though, because another guy I used to live with, he said, it looks like it's always rainbows and sunshine over there. He's like, you just look like you live the dream life. Like, I'm jealous. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm jealous. I was like, okay, even though I'm very grateful for my life, and there's like, I can't say I live a very fortunate life. I should be like, to me, there's no better life. There's not. Like, I live near the beach. I have my own little place. Like, I love what I do. Like, I just love it. Like, I wouldn't change it for anything. But with that, you don't see the struggle that comes with it. Like, I lived without seeing my family for 3.5 years now because of first COVID and stuff. Spent so much money on like traveling visas. You can't really save because you're in temporary jobs or like shittier jobs or visas, student visas, whatever. You can't save for a mortgage or whatever. Felt alone a lot of the time because you're so far away from your family, or like had to really rely on yourself. People come and go. The people you meet are usually backpackers, so they come and go. Like family things as Christmases feel way more lonely. There's so much more struggle that comes with living abroad and doing things by yourself than they see. And I put sunrises up, and when I go for a swim, and when I lost weight or whatever, so they see the highlights. So I think, I don't know what the question was, but they must be confused because they can see all the highlights of my life, but they don't see sometimes the struggles that come with it, which I try to post more about. Yeah,
and you can also become a victim to your own social media, where when you are feeling low, like if you go onto your page, you can like get caught up in that highlight reel of life, and you're like, why isn't it this good? Why isn't it as good as it was like 4 or 5 months ago when I was like doing all this? And I think that can be a real danger as well. And like remembering yourself, this is the 0.001% of my life. This like highlight reel here. Most of it is not this.
Yeah.
And get comfortable with that, and don't attach your life to your social media.
I was going to say, like, do you feel like it plays a part in your identity, your social media?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I feel like it is a bit of, because I do love it so much. Like, I love capturing moments. So, and that is a part of my life now. I think is a part of my, a bit of my identity. A lot of people know me by that as well. Like, you're the sunrise girl, or you're the, like, yeah, like, people ask me, where is the best place to go for sunrise? Or they say, girls say to me, oh, I want to meet up with you and we can take cute pictures or videos with the sunrise. Because you always do that. I want to do that too. I'm like, oh yeah. So I am identified with that now as well. I don't mind that though, to be honest.
Because you said it's something you desired.
Yeah,
you wanted it. Yeah.
I love it.
It's sustainable. I think if you're posting things that aren't genuine to you, then it's hard. Like, if for an actor, if you're Chris Hemsworth and you're known as Thor, like, that has to be tiring. If people like, you're Thor, let me take a photo. Like, can we go and, I don't know, do a throw Thor's hammer around, or whatever it is. It's like, I think that could be draining and taxing because he isn't Thor. Like, Chris Hemsworth's life is not Thor. That's 5% of his life. The rest of it is like surfing, being with his family, whatever he does. And those are the things that he'd probably like want to share more, because those are the things he desires to do with his time. So it's cool that you found an avenue where you can be genuine and authentic and do what you love to do and share that on social media.
It's sustainable as well. Like, you could do it forever because it's something you actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, and you won't ever get tired of it or anything like that, because you know.
But it's still hard though, because sometimes, as I said, like, I look at other creators and they have way more of themselves in it, and I sometimes have myself in it, but not always. I have a lot of, like, I don't know, like a video of a dog, or like little clips of like what I find beautiful, and not so much myself. So, but I feel like people should know you as well. But the moment I put the pressure on myself, I feel like I need to act a certain way, and that comes with it, and that's not natural. So that then it can feel unnatural, and it will take away the passion I have for it. So I'm trying to find a balance there. Where can I be in it, which comes natural to me?
Yeah, I think it comes down to kind of the branding you want to go down, and I don't think you necessarily have to have a face to the brand. Like the Blue Mountains page I was telling you about, Lost Mountains, I think it's like LST MTNS, whatever it is, on Instagram. That guy has never shown anyone his face. Like, none of his audience, I'm assuming his friends obviously know who he is, but like none of the majority of his audience know who he is. And like, there's never any photos of like faces of people. It's just the Blue Mountains. It's the places he's showing. And I think in that is a powerful message, because it's not this guy Chris or whoever it is. Like, Chris isn't enabling you to go to these beautiful places. He's just a lens to show you that anyone can do this, because you don't know who's behind the lens. So it kind of gives you this idea of like, oh, that could be anyone. I can do that. Why don't I do that? I'm going to do that. And then I go and do it. Whereas if you just watch this one expert out in the bush doing these things, it's like, oh, he does that, not me. And it keeps people in that consumption cycle. But I think what he's done, and for him, he's probably way more comfortable being behind the camera, and he probably doesn't want to be in front of the camera. And he's been able to build a brand around it, which I think is so cool. And I think for you, if you don't want to be in front of it, like, don't be in front of it. Just do what you want to do. And if people are genuinely curious to know more about you, they'll reach out to you, like same way we did. We'd be curious, so we reach out. Here we are, we're in person having a genuine conversation. We get to learn more that way. I think if people desire that enough, they're gonna act upon it. Like, why do you feel that you need to be in front of the camera?
I had a conversation with a friend, and he was like, because I kind of felt stuck. It's like, my social media is not growing. I feel like I need to change something, or like I'm losing followers. I know that shouldn't matter, but I felt like I should be doing something better. Like, I want to make this a career, so I feel like I should keep growing. So he was looking at my videos. He's like, you're not in it enough. And I just started to think, all the people that I follow, I see their character. And he's like, why do you follow those people? And I was like, because I see them, and like,
It's the personality.
Yeah, their personality, exactly. And that draws to people. And it's also why people were like, if I want to like build a business, also work with brands that I want to work with, they need to see your personality and believe in you. So therefore I thought, well, he suggested I should have more of myself in it so people can see my personality. But I'm still trying to find a way to make that the most authentic, that it's not forced. But it's true what you say, it becomes more of, how did you say it again?
Like it's like the consumer relationship where it's like Yas is the only one able to do these sunrises and do all this stuff. Like it makes it more unattainable for the consumer.
And compare, like you just look at it. You said it before as well. You said it so well.
Comparison loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is so true because I look at videos like that and I'm like, oh, they're doing it, but I can't do this. It's too overwhelming. I can't do it. But they're doing it, and now I want to do it, and I'm not doing it, and I feel shit for not doing it.
Yeah.
So it's so true. That's an insight I had today, not because of you. But
yeah, no, 100%. And like there is that other side to it. To not contradict myself, but say the other side where if you do want to build a brand around yourself, and if you do want to work with more brands, then there has to be a realistic approach, which does probably look like getting yourself in front of the camera more and showing that personality off. And it's probably just a muscle that hasn't been worked. Like it's going to be uncomfortable. You go to the gym for the first time, you're really, really sore. But if you keep doing it little by little, you'll get used to it. It's like anything, do it enough and it becomes a habit and a routine. So yeah, maybe that's what it looks like for you. And I think maybe a lot of it could just be filming stuff and not necessarily posting it, but just getting used to being yourself in front of the camera. Not putting a mask on, because a lot of people will do that. Like people always just do that. If you like film them, they'll just do something crazy. I'm a victim of it all the time. I just pull some weird random face. It's like I would have done that if I was just walking.
It's funny you say that because was it yesterday? Oh, I came up because in March I'm gonna be here 7 years, so I want to make a video of me being here 7 years. And I looked at I started a YouTube channel when I first came to Australia, and I wanted to be a YouTuber. I've always wanted to be in social media. I always wanted to be a vlogger. When I was 16 or younger, I used to watch this Dutch vlogger, and so I was like, I'm gonna be like a YouTuber, like my travel story. And I did 7 videos, 8 videos, didn't get enough views, stopped it. But I looked at it yesterday and I've changed so much, but also I was so unnatural in front of the camera. It was just like, and I used to do this thing like this after every sentence. I used to do like, and I was like, why am I doing that? And it was just like my voice would change. It's like, hi guys. Wow. And it's funny because it's true. Probably I'm not naturally before in front of the camera. Maybe I should try to have it less forced and
it's just time.
Reps.
Just the more you do. And like to Josh's point, like you just don't need to post it. Like you can just spend time doing the shit you like to do. Even if it's not as how you want it to look or whatnot, it's just like experimenting with it.
It was coming back at Chris Burkhardt, the photographer I was talking about. I was listening to a pod with him and he was saying how for him, if he is going to dive into another realm of photography, like he needs to become a master at it before he shares anything. So he said he does he's really well known for aerial photography, where not a drone, but he's in a helicopter or a plane taking photos out of the plane or helicopter. And he said I needed to master that, take 10,000 photos in that, do my 10,000 hours before I could share anything. And I think there's great power in sharing the process, because it helps someone else that's on that same journey be like, oh, he started out, his photos sucked, now he's really good. And I think there's power in that. But also I really like what Chris said, because he was just putting in the reps. He was up there paying all this money to go fly in these planes and take these photos, and nothing was coming from it, but he was just investing in himself. So one day when he felt like he was good enough, he could put his work out. And it's the same thing, make these videos until you feel that you're comfortable in front of the camera and go out.
I think when I first started, it was all just fun and games, and then the numbers hit, and now I was too focused on numbers, and it put more pressure on it. Because when you do something for fun, it's like it's literally fun. But then when people say, oh, you have a following now, you should do something with it.
Yeah.
Or like, puts pressure on it. It becomes a job. And when something feels like a job, which is not, it can take away like how natural it comes to you. And what was I was trying to say with this? I don't remember.
No, it's fine. Just talking about like the numbers and how you were kind of caught in that loop where it went from fun, turned it into a job, takes away the joy and the passion.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit caught in that. Like I need to like strip away and like just be what I want to be and like not think of.
Do the numbers affect you? Like if you post something and it gets like X amount of views or likes?
It does, because it did really well before, and like now it's more like not that great just compared to what it was. And I used to not have really high expectations, so therefore I couldn't be like disappointed.
But then since the numbers were big, then the expectation set, and then it drops below, and it's like, this kind of sucks.
Game, and it's not good.
Yeah, which is interesting because then you start to kind of go against everything you believe in and the content you create of like, Yas happy life.
Yeah.
This isn't happy. I'm just miserable looking at numbers on a screen.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing with myself?
I know.
Yeah.
That's why but it's only came the last, what is it? Few months, like after the breakup and stuff, I wasn't focused on that. I was like giving myself time to like go through that. Wasn't focused. I was like, that'll come after. Now I'm trying to pick it up again, and I'm like, how am I gonna approach this? Like, what am I gonna do? What am I trying to be? What do I want?
I think it's great that you question that though, because some people might just like, if they had your circumstances, they just get straight back into what they were doing just because that's what they were doing. But it's cool to see you actually take care and pride in it and be like, okay, what do I actually want to do with like the reach I have and the potential reach I could have? Like actually caring about what you're putting out, not just doing it for the sake of it. Because now you have the time to put it out. It's like, oh, I should just be putting out content. But you're actually like sitting there being like, what do I want to do? Do you feel like you put a time limit on that? Or are you just going to let it flow? Or?
I think I usually let it flow just more so because I get too overwhelmed sometimes. So I just feel like put less pressure on it. I don't want to force it either. I don't want to you shouldn't force these things, I think. Yes, you have to make time to make videos and edit them. But I think creativity should never feel forced.
For sure, yeah. It's just creating a space in which you can have it free flow. Yeah. I guess like
you can set time apart for it to work on it, but you can't force an outcome.
Yeah.
And I think that's why.
That's a good way to put it.
That's why now I'm like I feel a little bit uneasy because I don't know which direction it's gonna go yet. So yeah,
I think the best thing there is just focusing on the habits and the practices that make you feel the best, that make you live the life you and the message you're trying to spread. Yas happy life, like live that life, and through that you'll figure it out, I think.
Through like chasing your desires and stuff, and then like because it comes so natural to you, you enjoy doing it. It's just funny because
I made a few videos last week, and they were literally based on trends or like what other people were doing, other videos. Then I posted a video that I always used to make, and it got, I don't know, I think it has 100,000 views now or something. Let me see. But all the other videos had, it shouldn't matter in the numbers, I know that. But it shows that if I just stay true to what feels natural,
that'll perform the best.
Yeah.
Well, it speaks to I feel like that's awesome. I love that. That is just like, it's promoting you being you.
Yeah.
That's really
cool.
People
probably feel it.
Yeah.
Definitely. And even if it doesn't perform the best numbers-wise, it performs the best in how you feel.
Yeah.
I think that's what matters more.
There was a few times I've talked in front of the camera as well because I was just either felt really good or felt really shit.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a lot of views, but I had a lot of engagement. A lot of people were feeling empathy, or like they felt bad for me, or they felt like they just wanted to give me comforting words, or they felt inspired and they were like, they related. So numbers are obviously not important. Like it's also engagement. Like, what? How do you relate to people? Do they relate to you? I like it way better if I get 100 responses and maybe 1,000 views, because that shows community and
longevity.
Yeah, I want
more impact.
Yeah, I want to connect with people, and that's the whole reason of social media. Like, why it's B2B, connects people, and some people build friendships, and I have more in common probably with those people than I had with some of my friends, because they're into the same things. I love that.
Yeah, we had someone on the pod. His name's Kyle Ingram. He was speaking about when he works with other brands, and he says that he's a photographer. Sorry, yeah, and he says the best shoots he's had with brands is when they told him to just do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
So when it was like him, he said that like when he goes to edit those photos, like obviously he's having a better time at the shoot because he's doing what he wants, not what the brand's sort of telling him to do. He's had the chance, like when he goes and edits, he actually ends up spending way more time on it and puts so much more effort into it. It's because he's doing what he wants. I think it's like a similar situation for you. It's like if you chase your desires, you're actually doing things that are impactful and whatnot, or you deem are impactful. It's like you're going to end up just naturally spending more time on it and enjoying it more.
That's so true.
Knowing that you're on like a path with some sort of outcome, I guess.
J2, she said that as well. I don't know if you know her, J2. She's an influencer, and she made a TikTok about it. She's like, brands got it all wrong. They want you to work for them and like do it as how they want it. But the whole beauty of like creators is that people follow them because of them.
Yeah.
And if you want to sell your brand or like a product through them, make it as authentic as possible. If they would really use your product, how would they visualize it, or how would they bring it to life? Let them do what they want to do, because that's the whole reason why people follow them. And if they have to go by a brief of what they should be doing and it feels forced, people are not going to believe that, because they follow them for them. If they're going to act a different way and like very in a way as you could tell it's an ad, nobody's going to believe it, and nobody's going to care.
And that's where it circles back to personality, what we were talking about before. It's so important to be authentic, and if you want to be sustainable, and if you want to go the furthest, I think you have to be your genuine self, and like that's what brands are going to be drawn to. And maybe you don't get the brands you want to work with initially. Like maybe you have these dreams of working with these massive brands, but you realize that's not how they run the show. They run the show of like, you're in our house, this is how we do it here. Those aren't the people you want to be around.
This is funny, because I the other day I reached out to, what is it, like this camera brand, the little disposables. It's not a disposable. It's not the Kodak one. It's the, I'm not even going to say the brand name. I'm not going to say the brand name because I don't know that I'll find out. Anyways, I reached out to them. I was like, because it's a product I would use because I love things like that. And I was like, do you want to do collaboration? And they're like, no. And then, because you're like, we're out of budget, so we're not looking. Then they reached out to me. That happened twice this week. And I'm like, maybe they've seen my things, but it's nothing to do with staying true to yourself. But I think, I don't know how this correlates to this, but go. I think when you stay doing things, people will start to notice what you bring to the table, and they're like, oh, she's doing that. That would actually maybe work for me, or like work for this brand, because she's so doing what she wants to do. I don't know. So,
but they're almost like their initial reaction was no, but then they took time and responded.
Yeah.
Interesting. And what was your take on that? Was there?
I was very proud. I was like, see.
Yeah. I feel like part of me would be like, not screw you. You didn't want to work with me at the start.
I'm not like that, because I feel I've a lot of time for people that as businesses, they just want to make money. It's nothing personal. You can't take things like that personal. They're looking out for themselves. You're in a way looking out for yourself. But also, how beautiful is it that they see the value of you now?
Yeah. That should, if you're going to take anything from it, it's almost just like, you do have value. Like
you see.
I think that's funny that their practice is like that. Like they initially, I wonder what they looked at of yours to say no.
Probably nothing.
Like either nothing or just something that's just like a number. Like maybe they looked at a follower count or like some engagement statistic, and they just think no. But then maybe one of them actually consumes your stuff and then goes, oh, wait a minute. Like. So that's just funny. I find that so interesting.
It's so funny.
The power that like you actually would have.
Yeah.
Like over it. Yeah, that's cool. Are you going to collab with them?
I don't know. This one was a gifted one. They wanted to gift, and I was like, no, I'm putting effort in. Like, it was only for Instagram, so I was like, I need a little bit of money because I know I put a lot of effort in. I was like, if this is going to add, I put value in my videos or effort. I need to know my worth as well.
Yeah.
Time is money. I know for a lot of brands, they just give stuff because it's really cheap for them.
Yeah. And people are just happy to take.
Yeah, and that's what's my initial response. It was like, oh yes, they want to work with me now, yay! But it's gifted. I was like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I need to know my worth and my time.
How have you gone about learning to find those boundaries? Because
I still haven't. I still ask way too little for TikTok, I realized. Because I asked different creators to like, what? I have like a quarter of your followers, and I asked double. And I was like, what? And that's to do with like me not knowing what the worth of it.
Yeah.
Like it's on the internet for life maybe, or like for like a good few years. Like it's not only that, they can repost it, or they can have authorization, or like they can use it on their own social platforms. You have it to your following. So it's a lot.
it's huge. Yeah.
You film it multiple days, you edit it.
And it's also why they're willing to pay so much money, because they know they're going to get the return on it.
Yeah.
Like they're not just going to invest in something where it's like, oh, this might work out, maybe. It's like, no, they're going to pay the money because they know they're going to get like back on it.
Yeah. I'm still scared of money things and like asking too much, or like I still trying to navigate that. Also because I don't know a lot of people in that field. None of my friends do this, so I try to ask different creators that I met through social media. And they always say, go more.
Yeah.
Go more.
Yeah, that's what's tough. Like, we're super lucky where, like, we fortunately have a lot of friends in the space, and friends that are, like, 3, 4, 5 years ahead of where we want to be.
Yeah.
So, I think in terms of that, when we get to those points, like, we have those people we can ask. And, like, there's been a couple of occasions where that's been the case. And it's just so, like, we'll always come up with a number or something that we think we should go with, just to figure it out, and then we ask, and it's like, oh, okay, that was like kind of what we were thinking, or that was not what we were thinking at all. That's crazy. So yeah, I think having people in the space is the best thing.
Oh, so good, so good. Definitely don't take it for granted. 100%. Yeah, I think like, and doing it is through just spending more time, like, and reaching out more. Like we were talking about it before, like the power of socials. It's nuts.
And also, my friend said, she works on Instagram, and she's like, you can always ask, and if they say no, what's the worst that can happen?
Exactly.
You can say, okay, I'll do it for this price, then I'll make a special exception for you, and they'll still want to do it.
100%. It's like literally what is the worst happens, because there's always the like damn it moment when you say a number and they say yep, and then you're like, damn it, I could have got more. I should have.
Conflict.
That's what it is. Chase the conflict. Chase them wanting to negotiate, because then it's like, right, we're in the right field. But if they say yes, it's like, I'm an idiot. So how do you think you're gonna get better at that?
I am already, I feel like, because I'm put my price up. Even my friend is in the industry. She's a fitness influencer, and I worked with her kind of for free. Well, not for free. I can use her app, fitness app, but then post whenever I want. Took a bit of the way of the motivation for me to make videos, because I'm getting the app as it is. And I don't use that regular. Whereas another brand paid me, and there was this time limit and this pressure of doing it, which gave me a little bit more motivation to actually do it.
And make it better.
So I reached out to her saying, I know I'm very grateful for you giving me the app, but I have this proposal, like we worked together. At the minute I'm out of her budget, but I say, let me get back to me what your budget is. But so this is the first time I'm trying to like negotiate, like business wise.
It's a weird one because it's such a new space too. Trying to figure out how much you're worth. What is your actual impact? Then firstly, like, how much do you impact? Because it's across multiple platforms. And then how do I put a monetary value on that? that's just so hard. Like,
and when it's friends or something, I was like, I feel so bad. Like, I feel bad even asking. It was just like don't, because bigger brands, this would be no money to them. I'm a small brand, so I can't, but just do it, like, ask it.
And it's so important because in the creative space, so many people you work with become your friends.
Yeah.
So you really need to like have that relationship, that business relationship, and the personal friendship. And knowing your worth is just so important. It's so critical because no one else is gonna like establish your worth for you. Yeah. Like they're always gonna try and sell any business. They're always gonna, if they can get it cheaper, of course they're gonna do that. Like it's rare that you'll find someone that would say, no, you're worth more than what you just said. We're gonna pay you this. Like that is so rare that you would find anyone that would do that. So you need to look out for yourself, and that's where, again, like you've got the tools. Like you moved to Australia by yourself. You've developed this level of independence. You live alone. Like use all of that to know your worth.
Oh, yeah. Is there like anything you want to touch on at all? Like anything you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
No, we've covered a lot. I feel like we talked about a lot. And we've been with each other for like 5 hours now.
What time is it?
I don't know. What is the time?
It's like 5 to 11.
Oh shit, there you go. Yeah. That's in 6. So
We've been here since sunrise.
Yeah, so good. It's awesome.
That's wild. Where do you want to be in the next like couple of months?
Ooh, next couple of months. I want to go be back on track with my social media. So really feeling aligned with that, feeling like I'm staying true to myself. Hopefully be successful with it. Comes with it.
What does the success look like for you?
Can I ask that?
Success, like, it feels like easy is not the word, because nothing is gonna feel easy.
Feels right.
But, yeah, aligned. Just aligned. Like you're feeling you're on the right path. Also, I'd love to have more of a community feeling with it, probably. But with both my socials, because Instagram is still not very big, but yeah, aligned with that. Job-wise, I hope I can find a balance or like something I like, but also I can stay in the country with, or like that also feels aligned. Yeah, that mostly.
That's cool.
Hopefully still in Australia. Hopefully saved enough money to go Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, see my family. Big thing.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Thing. Yeah.
We close every pod off with a challenge. So we get the guest to give us a challenge that we will partake in for the week that this podcast is released. We want it to come from you. It can be related to anything we've spoken about. Could be any sort of challenge, physical, mental, like spiritual, anything. So just take your time and think of a challenge for us.
Okay, this is the challenge.
Wow.
I know.
I don't know if that scares me or not.
Okay, this is because I've done this. I don't know if you would have seen that video. I did this in lockdown. I went to Coogee Beach and I bought like roses, and I wrote little cards with it, and I put it in like there's like a fence. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did watch that video. Yeah.
And I was like, it made people happy. I think you guys should do that. Like buy some flowers, put a note on it, and give it to strangers.
Sick.
I like that. That's a great challenge.
Yeah, that's sick.
That's so unique.
And maybe film it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I was literally gonna say bonus. We can film that.
Yeah.
I'll be there if you want me to. I'll film it.
Yeah,
for sure. Love it.
I'll do it with you guys if you want me to do it. I'll
definitely.
do it.
Let's do it.
I really feel like that challenge kind of encapsulates your whole sort of brand and your whole like who you are and what you do. Like it's all about being happy and just spreading positivity.
Yeah.
I think that's
There was
awesome.
so many. It was even beautiful. I just sat there that day by myself, just looking at people. Everybody was taking pictures of it, and it was like it became a thing on social media, or like a lot of people I knew around like the East Subs that I knew, it was on their stories, or like people would at me through it. That wasn't my purpose, but like the kids, even like I got a video of a dog sitting in front of it. It made me like the old people were just like walking by, like you know how they walk with their hands behind their back, man thing, and it would just like look, and it just melted my heart, and like. yeah, that just gave me, or the people saying like, I really needed that today, or like, I got a message of a guy and he said, I picked a rose today and I gave it to my girlfriend, she really needed it. Or, because it was in lockdown times, it was like everybody people just went for it. Yeah, I did it once over, was it Christmas? I did it over Christmas last year as well. I wanted to do it this Christmas, but this Christmas was crazy and I wasn't in a bad mental state, so I didn't make it, but yeah, it was Christmas.
You needed the rose.
I needed the rose. And then, yeah, lockdown before that, I got a good responses, and people really liked it.
That's so cool. Yeah. I'm keen to do that. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be so fun. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been amazing speaking with you and like hearing your outlook and perspective on life.
It has. It's awesome.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.